Joining us now are CBS News political director and Face Nation moderator John Dickerson and USA Today Washington bureau chief Susan Page. CBS News elections director Anthony Salvanto is also with us, and he has been tracking the electoral map. Good morning to all of you. John, let's start with this. Clinton's campaign manager says this issue about the emails is resolved. Is it resolved?
Oh, well, it depends what James Comey's got in his typewriter. I mean, I think it probably can't get out another letter before the voting ends tomorrow. So maybe it's resolved for the moment. But good gosh, it's not resolved as an issue because, as long as we've got committee chairmen in the House who say they want to investigate this, and because there's always seems to be another new thing being found separate and apart from what the FBI investigates.
Susan, what do you make of the reactions from both campaigns? Even though James Comey says there's nothing there, it's almost like he did it. Never mind. Did he give Trump an advantage during these last couple of weeks?
Oh, yeah, 9 days where 40 million people voted early under the impression that the FBI had revived this investigation. That's had an effect. Strategists for Democrats who are working down ballot say it has had an effect on their hopes of getting the biggest possible lead in Senate races, has probably reduced the number of House seats that they'll pick up.
Are you surprised that he has released the letters the way he did, the first one and now the second one?
Unprecedented. We've never seen this kind of thing happen before with the FBI. And I think there are some long-term consequences with the FBI, with James Comey working with whoever gets elected president, and in the public's faith in the FBI as a nonpartisan institution.
I think we all agree that Donald Trump cannot win the presidency without Florida because he has such a narrow path to victory. What are we seeing in Florida in this early voting, this huge surge in Hispanic turnout?
Well, that's the reason, as you say, he needs Florida is because the traditional number of states that vote for Democrats, there are just more of them. So Donald Trump has to find new states because there aren't as many traditionally Republican states. Florida, the story so far is that Hispanics have turned out in huge numbers. Of about 900,000 Hispanics that have voted, 36% of them did not vote in 2012. Wow. So what the Clinton team is doing, and we hear the word ground game, this is where ground game matters. They've been able to go find these voters, get them to vote. And the other thing that's mattered is that while Donald Trump has found new enthusiasm in one portion of the electorate, it has had an effect on this other portion of the electorate, which is to say Latino voters, who are voting perhaps for Hillary Clinton, but in a lot of cases they're voting against Donald Trump.
So we think today, if there's one big story in this election, it is Latino turnout.
I think that's right, not just in Florida, in Nevada, in Colorado, in New Mexico. And remember, this is a voting group that has huge numbers but hasn't really participated to the degree that whites and blacks have in past elections. We think Latino turnout is up. The number, voting is kind of a habit. So if you can turn out Latino voters in this election, that means it's going to be easier to turn out in the next one. And it has the effect, I think, of changing our electoral map.
Let's bring in Anthony at the CBS News Battleground Tracker. Let's start with Florida, Anthony, where both candidates say it's too close to call.
Right. Gail, this race is even, and I'll show you why. Not only is Hispanic turnout up in the early vote, but turnout is up among everybody in the early vote, and that includes a lot of Republicans. So we see that partisan break even. I will tell you, on election night, tomorrow night, when we start looking at Florida, the key thing to watch is going to be, as these counties start to fill in red and blue on election night, watch down here in Miami. If that goes blue, but not just blue, deep blue, Democrats win a lot of votes down there. That could, with the help of Hispanic turnout, be enough to carry them through the rest of the state, where Donald Trump is expected to do a lot better.
Haven't they already done a huge turnout in Miami-Dade already?
Yeah, they have, but there's still people who have to vote on Election Day. What Anthony just said about Florida is basically true of all the battleground states. Look for deep pockets of blue around the cities. The rest of the map will look red in the rural areas, but that's why Hillary Clinton is in these cities trying to drive up her vote in there.
I thought Lindsey Graham had the best line where he said Donald Trump has done more to get the Latino vote out than any Democrat ever could have.
That's right. I think it's really focused the interest of Hispanic voters who are worried about the rhetoric he used against Mexican immigrants, about his promise to build a wall and to deport illegal aliens, illegal immigrants who are here now.
All right, John Dickerson, Susan Page, Anthony Salvanto. I want to come over to that map
night
and start pressing on the states and the counties. So fascinating. Thank you so much. CBS News coverage of election night begins tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. You can watch all day on our digital news network, CBSN.